Hello there, and welcome to Fiction and Fitness. Finally getting some videos up in 2017. It only took me a month and several days, and a computer crash, but we'll get into that later. Today's video is actually going to be both fiction and nutrition related. I don't have any lifting videos up yet. I did switch gyms, finally, so I have access to more equipment, but it's also a lot busier, so I haven't figured out how to film, even though the guy that I signed up with said we could film, but ironically you can't take pictures in the bathroom at this one, so no selfies in the bathroom, even though one of them has a three-walled mirror section set aside for posing. I don't understand the rules, but there are signs up there for lots of things, and one of them is no pictures there, but I don't really need pictures in the locker room, so it's okay. What I really need is pictures, video of me lifting, and hopefully we'll get to that soon. But first, we're just going to start with here when I can film at home. My sister's gone, this is my roommate, so we're going to give this a try. Why it says fiction and nutrition is I had a couple of questions asked on Instagram that I was going to do for November, and then there were no other questions asked, so I ended up not doing a NaNoWriMo video, but that's okay. I'm going to answer one question this time, and then I'll get to her other questions in separate videos. And that question deals with genres, so we're going to talk about genres, and for the nutrition side, I am finally going to taste test something I won a year ago. So yes, we have a protein powder taste test and some genre conversation. That is going to be today's video. So first, let's see what we're going to be taste testing. I have, and I won this like a year ago doing the bench press competition over on bodybuilding.com. I was second place out of 2. So yeah, one is saying I didn't really win, but it was really fun. I had a good time. I hadn't really filmed bench before, and I really should again since I'm actually doing bench now. I'm not skipping it anymore. I'm doing upper body days. It's kind of a miracle. No, I really do like upper body, but it's not as fun as squatting. So anyways, I won a couple of things, and the only one I actually received, which I received a long time ago, right before I moved, was this. I believe I showed it in a previous video, and it's actually it's whey protein, so I'm something I can't consume very often. I do have a mild allergy to something in dairy, and whey is a dairy-based item, even though they don't have, a lot of them are lactose-free, so people who are lactose intolerant might be able to have some of those products, but if you have an allergy to different parts of dairy, there may be some issues, so just kind of depends on your particular problem. For me, I have no idea what it is, so I use whey sparingly. I tend more towards the vegetable-based protein powders just to be on the safe side. However, I do like some whey protein bars. So we're going to try this one, and it's cookies and cream. So I'm really not sure how I'm going to feel about that, but it's nice to have some other flavors. That's kind of, oops, sorry, I tripped the table. That's kind of the problem with a lot of the vegan-based, is some of them only have a couple flavor options. You'll usually have vanilla, some will have chocolate, and I mean there are a couple others. Raw Fusion has like banana nut, they have a couple kind of flavors like chocolate strawberry that mostly taste just like the chocolate, but you get what you get. You don't get a lot of like cookies and cream, waffle, Fruit Looms, or whatever. I've seen so many whey proteins. You don't get the whey protein selection when you're doing the vegan protein powders, or even the beef base. They have chocolate. Don't do the fruit flavors. Just recommendation there. So what I'm going to do is, I don't normally drink protein powders. I use them for other things like baking, but I'm going to try it 2 ways. I have water, and I have almond milk, because I'm not going to, if I drink regular milk, I'll be so sick. So we're not going to risk that. So I'm going to do half a serving. This is the scooper they give you. I'm actually going to do half a scoop per, and we're going to see how they turn out both ways. I really don't like it in water normally, but that's the vegan based. They don't tend to mix that well, so I have avoided that. I usually use my Magic Bullet, and I use almond milk or flax milk or whichever non-regular milk that I can get. Okay, so let's see how this goes. And this is just a taste test. I'll do a full product review sometime after I've used it more than once. It's going to take me a while because, yeah, I can't use it often. We've got the water. Shake that up. I also found the beef-based protein powder, like just shaking it, it does not mix as well. That's why I use the little magic bullet. It doesn't take very long, but it seems to help it, even though it does get a little foamy. But I don't mind a little foamy. Like Foamy the Squirrel. Yeah, that was a fun cartoon to read when I was in college. Anyways, so then we have the almond milk. And I have about 3 ounces because it recommends 5 to 6 ounces of water is on the label because I actually read the label. I know that's weird, right? Okay. And we will shake this one too. It actually smells pretty good. It smells kind of chocolatey. But I'm sure whey-based is probably allowed to have all the fun stuff that the others can't have. This one. And also, the thing with the cookies and cream I'm noticing, because it does have the little cookies bits, it's almost harder to tell if it's actually mixed in. Because you can see the little specks. So those might just be the cookie part. Which is kind of weird, but it is cookies and cream, so. Okay, try not to make this video too super long. We have the taste test of the water, which looks watery. I don't know how well you can see that. I need to clean this out better, but this one's an old one. This shaker's had some rough times. It doesn't have, I mean, it tastes kind of like, you can tell it's got a chocolatey flavor to it, but it does taste like watery because it's made with water. So I probably wouldn't follow the instructions and use 6 ounces of water with 1 scoop. It's not bad, it's just watery. So if I'm going to be doing a meal replacement, I don't find it filling to drink that way. Okay, so this one with the milk's harder to shake it up. I'd probably use the NutriBullet next time, but like I said, some of those clumps might just be the cookies. So like, I don't know if, because this is blue if you can tell, but yeah, it's still kind of clumpy based. Who knows? I can't tell what you see. I don't have a fancy camera, and this camera's going away soon, so we'll see what we'll do after that. Okay, so now this one's almond milk based. I'm hoping it at least has a little less water taste to it. Let's see. Yeah, that one's a little better. I would definitely prefer some type of milk product versus, I mean, I know obviously with water you're going to get less calories. And since I'm going to be starting your cut soon, I'll still go with the calories of the almond milk. Or some other milk that actually has protein added to it. That's not a bad taste though. I'm definitely gonna have to drink it again. It does get that kind of cookies and cream flavor to it. I don't eat a lot of cookies and cream bars, but I do I get the flavoring, so that's good. And it is a little sweet, but I have a sweet tooth, so it's not too sweet for me. I would like lots of sweetness, whereas my sister prefers savory. She loves salt galore or spicy, which we both like spicy. But I definitely like very sweet things, a little more. Anyway, so that is the taste test. I do say the titanium whey has a pretty smooth flavor. It doesn't taste gritty it didn't even taste gritty in the water, it just tasted watery. But so far, not too bad. I don't have a lot of experience with whey proteins, so I don't know what some of the others taste like. I will have to try out the Quest one I have at some point for you. But for now, the titanium whey, I think I can get through this. It's, that's a good question. Oh. 17 ounces, so it's 1 pound. Not a lot, but that's okay. That's all I need, since it'll take me a long time to get through just that. And now we're going to talk about genres. Now, what was asked actually by a person I follow on YouTube. Her name's Fallen Angel, or actually, her name's Jo. But she goes by Fallen Angel Fitness on her YouTube channel, and I'll link it down below. And she asked me a couple of questions back in early November. And all of them are dealing with writing, because I'm... Say hi to the cat! Hi, Chloe! No. Anyways, so she was asking questions about writing, and one of those questions happened to be genre. And what she asked is, on my phone, do you have a favorite genre that you prefer to write, or do you like and be open to all genres? Now, I do have an answer that basically means both. I like certain genres in particular, and I find some easier to write in than others, but I do try to write in a lot of genres. I find you actually work on your writing skills if you try ones that you may not be good at, and you may find ones you're good at that you didn't even know. Like, I did not plan to ever write romance erotica. I do not even read romance, and I only read the stuff posted online for a contest. When it comes to the adult fiction, I don't read a lot of the published work, basically. And she really wants to be in the video. Hi, this is Chloe. Yes, we don't read romance erotica, but we write some. And I started writing it just by wondering if I could. So I tried to write a short story, and it took me about 6 months to get the adult content in. But since then, I have written a lot more. I have some, and I plan to eventually self-publish some novelettes and novellas under a different pen name, because you don't want the same pen names on the... That's where the genre thing really comes in. If you're doing more than one, you do have to consider some factors like pen names and being published under, because you can't write erotica and write middle grade or young adult under the same name. That does not go over well. So that's really what you have to consider if you're going to do the multiple genres. And if you're going to do one genre, what you do is you tend to get known for it more. So that's why a lot of people under one name stick to the one genre. For me, I tend to stick more towards, for writing, speculative fiction. By that I mean it's a really wide umbrella term, and that is like fantasy, science fiction. Also, you'll have horror is often put under it, and that I don't write. I've tried several times. Short fiction, which still ends up being novel ideas. I don't know why. I'm just not very good at it. The closest thing to horror I've managed to kind of accomplish has to do with like a serial killer clown that turns women into mannequins, and I haven't done anything with it. And then I have an adult story based on a demon possession. But other than that, I don't understand horror. I fell asleep watching The Exorcist, so I don't even watch horror movies because not my thing. But I do love science fiction and fantasy, mostly fantasy, and that also goes into my reading. And I write also not only adult, but young adult, so that's also a difference. It's not actually a genre, even though you will find a section in the bookstore that they kind of label as genres, but there is the age range as well. So that's the difference. So I write, after I ramble about all this, I basically write mostly speculative fiction, gearing towards fantasy with the occasional sci-fi, and I write both young adult and adult. But aside from that, I also do write some contemporary, which... Okay, take two. Now, aside from the speculative fiction, I have actually also been finding I'm enjoying writing contemporary. And basically what the contemporary is I do young adult stories that are based in this world, this kind of time frame. I don't try to put a specific year on it because that will sort of date it, and obviously you want people in the future to be reading it. But you do have some factors that will kind of date it, like whether they have cell phones or not. Like, I didn't have a cell phone until I was 16, but obviously people before didn't have cell phones still. They were adults or didn't have cell phones at all. So that does, like, those factors, whether they use the internet a lot, whether they ride horses, there are certain factors that are going to put a date to it. But basically, I mean contemporary by saying it's going to be like real world setting. There's not a lot of magic, or there's no magic involved. There's, obviously there's some science factors, but it's not really science fiction based, so it's not trying to make the science be a big portion of the story. And most of my contemporary are based on like friendships, new romances, because it is young adult, and those kinds of things. They do deal with some other issues. One of them's dealing with medical issues and secrets, and there's all kinds of different things that will plot. It's just they don't have like magic or elves or fairies or any of those other things. So they're basically real world settings. And I didn't actually expect to write a lot of that because I didn't really read a lot. When I was younger, I tended towards the fantasy, and oddly enough, I tended towards strong female characters, like books written by books written by Tamora Pierce. It has a very strong female-based character, and I really loved reading those, and I write gay boy main characters. I don't know how that all worked out, but that's how it ended up. But we'll talk about characters in another video because Joe did have a question about characters, but that's a different one. Aside from writing genres, there's also the reading genres, and I do actually read a variety. I don't stick to just one, but I do like speculative fiction, obviously except for horror, because as I just said, I don't write it, I don't tend to read it, but I do read mostly fantasy with some science fiction thrown in. And I read also middle grade, young adult, and adult. So I'm going to actually show you some books that I have that I'm either reading or going to read to kind of show an example of them. You have the middle grade books, which basically that is the preteen years. So it's right between children's and young adult. And those books can be kind of small or they can actually be quite big. Yes, they do have epic fantasy style of books for middle grade. But they have all kinds of different plots. They have like the Diary of Wimpy, in school, what they're dealing with. And they also reach out into the fantasy. Like I was reading Hive, which is about a school for villains. So that's kind of fun. It does have, they look bigger, but you do have to remember they do have the bigger font. But it's pretty interesting, some of the books they have. And then you have something like this, which I am reading. It's called Beyonders, and this is a middle grade book, the size of an adult epic fantasy novel. Yeah, it has more words than some epic fantasy novels from when I was a teen and reading epic fantasy. So you don't necessarily have to have a very small book to still be middle grade, but those are factors that we want to talk about. We're not talking about word counts. Basically, those are fantasy and speculative fiction type because obviously there hopefully isn't a school for villains, at least that I know of. Aside from that, I do like, obviously, young adult, Tamora Pierce. I have met her in person at a conference. It was pretty cool. And I haven't read a lot lately, but when I was growing up, I did read a lot of the stories, including Alana. That was one of my favorite characters. I also like the one from the Wild Magic series. But there are several that I've liked. My sister likes her books a whole, is bigger fan than I am. She's definitely in the fandom. She's read all the books. I'm way behind, but I'm behind in all my reading, including other young adult books. So these are young adult books I'm hoping to read. This one tends more towards speculative fiction, whereas this one, Will Grayson, is a little more of a contemporary because it's about two characters, both named Will Grayson. So that one I've been wanting to read for years, and I haven't read it yet. But those are the young adult books I've been kind of trying to read, and those are the types I read. I do also read some contemporary. I want to read 13 Reasons Why. I did read some dealing with, like contemporary world, dealing with death, or just regular dating, no magic. And then I read others that deal with like fantasy, or the one that was set in a Shakespeare play. That was kind of an interesting book. But aside from young adult, I do read some adults. I'm hoping to read some older science fiction and also some newer. I have met this author, Connie Willis. I recommend if she's at a conference and you're there, go see her. Doesn't matter what she's talking about. She is a great speaker. And I'm hoping to eventually get myself to read some of her books because they sound very interesting. And aside from the science fiction, we also have the more speculative fiction type. So we have books like by Brandon Sanderson, the person who took over Wheel of Times after Robert Jordan. I am not very far on that series, which would be this one, Robert Jordan. I plan to read it all eventually, but they are thick books and there's a lot of them. So that's something I need to work on, my reading. But there's some others, some very different authors that I'm hoping to read, and then ones from my past, epic fantasy. This is what I was reading when I was in high school. And I like books like that have like dwarves, and I may have an epic fantasy book that I will probably never get published. That's very derivative, but oh, I just love writing about elves and stuff, and that one's just for me, not for anyone else. But aside from that, I do try to expand my reading. Playing. One moment. I try to expand my reading and not just read speculative fiction or even young adult. I'm also trying to read some nonfiction, even though I don't plan to ever write it. I did a nonfiction book proposal in college, but yeah, I'm not going to write that one. So I can do some nonfiction writing. I can write articles and all that. I can write essays for school. I was always good at that, but not my plan. But I am reading some nonfiction like antimatter. Just I have a whole bunch of different books with different topics that interest me, and just trying to expand my horizons. So reading wise, I definitely prefer a wide range. I do read a wide range of genres, but I prefer speculative fiction and young adult, which is probably good because that's what I write in, and I should really try reading more romance since a lot of my stories are heading that way, but I haven't gotten there yet. Then again, I read 2 books last year, so that's something I need to work on, along with videotaping more and doing more lifting. I'm getting better at it. And writing. You know, when my computer doesn't crash and die and lose everything, and I hope I can get all my stuff saved up. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on. I have a lifting session coming tomorrow. It is upper body day. Can't wait. And hopefully I will upload this video before the 15th. We will see. Once I compile the 2, because my computer, it ran out of memory cards to the computer. Not the computer, the phone. The camera, take 3 on that. The camera had some issues because I ran out of memory. So we will compile these and hopefully get posted soon. Have a good day, and hopefully you're either lifting, writing, reading, or doing whatever you enjoy. I am hopefully going to write.